Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Another checkered flag for the books. Time to celebrate with Chumba. Jump in at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
He's an old head.
Youngins are really starting to get on my damn nerves.
He's a purveyor of nonsense. He's a Georgia High School coaching job influencer. His favorite Bible verse is, Jesus wept. He's the man of constant sorrow, Chris Lamb.
Yeah.
Sun Coaches Podcast would like to thank our sponsor, Vertical Raise. Elevate your program's fundraising this season with Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the premier online fundraising platform for organizations of all sizes, using innovative technology to create the easiest and most efficient system available. Raise more money in less time with your local fundraising coach, who works with you every step of the way to customize the ideal fundraiser for your program. To find out more, reach out to Justin Kilpatrick at justink@verticalraise.com. or follow at Vertical Raise, capital G, capital A, on X. Justin Kilpatrick is a territory sales representative. His number is 229-860-0057. Again, you can reach him at justink@verticalraise.com. Justin is good people. I've met him at a golf tournament this summer, and he's done a lot of good work for a lot of programs over the state. Reach out and see what he can do for your program.
Welcome to Sun Coaches Podcast, and today I'm joined with Greene County head coach Terrance Banks. Coach, thanks for being with us today.
Man, thank you for having me on. I'm always glad to talk about this lovely job that we do.
Well, Coach, I know you're doing a great job. Y'all had a great year last year, but before it all began, where did you grow up?
I'm from a not so small town anymore, Lithonia, Georgia. My parents moved here from Birmingham when I was 3, man. So I'm from Lithonia, Georgia. Back when I was growing up, DeKalb County still had the bus kids, and so I grew up in Lithonia, probably about the 5th grade. Had to change schools through the bus, and so I graduated from the Lakeside-Dekalb High School back when Lakeside-Dekalb High School was still really good in football. Shout out to Coach Mo trying to turn my alma mater around, but played for Phil Lindsay, who I believe is eventually going to get in the Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame, over 150 wins, and he learned under, for the old heads listening, he coached under the great Wayman Creel. You got to be from Georgia and the old head to kind of know some of these names I just threw out, but that was my high school ball, kind of where I grew up, and never left. My closest friend in high school got in the Morehouse. I got in. He was on football scholarship. I was a PWO. I tried it. The problem is, if you go to Morehouse, there's also Spelman next door. And, when you're a PWO, you don't play. You spend other time doing other things. So I spent too much time in Spelman, and originally I planned to go to Georgia Tech on the 3-2 Morehouse and Georgia Tech on the engineering 3-2 program, and I was on the 4.5-2 program with Morehouse, and it ended up being Southern Poly. And so I did kind of fall into coaching, but that's everything up until right before I started coaching in a nutshell.
So you kind of discovered the better things to do around the university while you were up there.
Yeah, it was, having a car probably was the problem, man, because what happened was when we would help like load buses, people that coach HBCU football, know anything about HBCU football, you play a lot of classic games. And if your school ain't got an abundance of money, you're going to ride the Harmon brothers everywhere. But they're leaving campus like early. And so as they would kind of dip out, I would catch the MARTA train back home and get my car for the weekend. And that led to trouble. And it led to trouble. That's the best way to say it.
Well, there you go. So you get into coaching. What was your first coaching job?
So as I'm finishing up my second degree at Southern Poly, my younger brother is a senior at Dunwoody High School. I had kind of been going to the games, watching practice. James Teeter, my brother told Coach Teeter, and he just stopped me one day and he said, "Hey, you want to be a lake coach, community coach?" And I said, "Sure." So James Teeter, who's not a head coach at Sequoia, but he was at Dunwoody, he hires me as varsity outside linebacker coach, JV coach. And as I'm finishing up my degree, I start there. I worked for Coach Teeter, and I'm like, man, I went and saw my elementary PE teacher, and I'm like, man, I would love to be a teacher. They don't get paid no money, but damn, it's fun. At the same time, my senior year, I'm doing an internship with the Greene County Tax Commissioner's Office because my bachelor's degrees are in computer science and mathematics. So that's what I went to school for. And I'm like, computer science make money, but it's boring as hell in this cubicle. And coaching football is fun. And he said, man, follow your heart. You will find a way to make money. And darn sure he was correct. That's kind of how that happened.
So your first job was as a lake coach, starting at the very, very bottom.
Yep. With James Teeter for that first year, and I finished my degree, and I decided I wanted to be a teacher. And God makes no mistakes. I got offered the ninth grade head coaching job and teaching math at Peachtree Ridge under Blair Armstrong. Or I got offered returning back to my alma mater, Lakeside, coaching receivers, being head track coach, and teaching math. And should have probably took my behind with Blair Armstrong because the very next year, that's when Ridge and Roswell tied for the state championship game. but you know exactly what I did, man. I went back home to Lakeside.
That's right.
And William Harris hired me. He actually retires at the end of spring ball. And Greg Lester came to be the head coach. Greg Lester, who played at Georgia Tech, etc. He comes, get done working with Steve Davenport. He comes to be the head coach at our alma mater because he's also a Lakeside grad. And I worked for him for 2 years. And then my third year, Lester takes a step back. I get the opportunity to at one of the track meets, being the head track coach, doing Canton County Championships, the head track coach, head football coach. Then at Clarkson, this guy named James Rollison, who is passed, but he spent a lot of time at Jackson. Jackson has a track meet named after him, and he actually coached track at Newton when I was the head coach. He's telling me one day, I need an OC, baby. What you think about coming to Clarkson since Lester's out? And I'm like, sure, why the hell not? I get to be an OC. I'm 28 years old. Like all you other gurus at 28 who be hitting me up, asking me, Coach, I'm ready to be a head coach. I was too, baby, OC. I got the Urban Meyer playbook, baby. We finna go zone option, baby, at Clarkson and do it up. And after 4 games, I realized, no, we're not gonna do zone option. We finna doggone run some basic stuff and some boot and some quick passes and try to survive. And I loved that year. We went 0-10 though at Clarkson.
The Angors
gave me my first start. The Angors gave me my first start, and it was a severe learning lesson on you do not have any answers. You think you know everything. You know less than nothing. So that's what that taught me at Clarkson. And at the time, I'm ready to get out of the cab. You coaching the cab has made some advancements. But you young whippersnappers who all want to be a head coach, I'll put it to you an example like this. At the time back then, the Cat County paid head coaches like $5,500. There were 5 supplements, 3 for varsity, 2 for JV. And obviously, if head coaches only getting paid $55, imagine what everybody else is getting paid. So I wanted to work for Corey Jarvis. I had been talking about that because I wanted to transfer to MLK. He's like, I might be leaving MLK. Just bear with me. And didn't like my principal at Lakeside. New principal, she was mad that I was teaching at Lakeside and coaching, still the head track coach at Lakeside, but coaching football at Clarkston because Lakeside brought somebody in to coach football who I didn't necessarily, feel like it was always going to be a great fit. So I leave and go to Burtmar High School, man. John Thompson hired me right before he gets out at Burtmar. I knew about Burtmar. I had, if you know anything about me, the rap group, the Migos, is like my little family. Takeoff, who passed, was in my Algebra 1 class at Burtmar. Quavo was our quarterback. The OC was Jeremy Edwards, who's now the head coach at Houston. And one of my fraternity brothers is Offset's stepfather. So I knew about Burtmar, went to Burtmar. I worked there for 2 years, and finally Corey Jarvis got the job at Duluth, and he comes a call, and it was a lifelong thing where I wanted to work with Corey Jarvis, and it was the best decision of my coaching life because that's where I learned everything. Not learn, he put everything together. All these pieces that I had, what not to do, what does it take, what does it look like. That was the best staff I ever worked on, Lamb. The number of guys off Corey Jarvis's staff at Duluth that became OCs or head coach. Myself, Lee Hanna, Jason Connor, who's the head coach at Duluth. My boy Sean, head coach at Riverwood. Lee Hanna's now at DC at Douglas County, but he was a head coach. Obviously, Corey Jarvis. Incident just happened with Kerry Hood, but he was on that staff. And so many other guys. Like, we went 4-6, but that is the best football staff I ever worked at. And
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
That's where I learned what it really takes. And, as we say all the time, sometimes, Lamb, and Chris Parker says it best, taking teams to their ceiling. Corey Jarvis got Duluth to their ceiling under their time with him, with all of those guys that he produced that became head coaches. And that's where I learned that you can be a great head coach. You can scheme it up, baby. But sometimes it is, majority of the time it is, 99% of the time it is Jimmy's and Joe's. I don't care how good the staff is.
Yeah, sometimes that battle was won 16, 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah, man. Like, when, it was funny when I was at Burtmar. That's when old Andrews and Khan got some kids named Kendiche. When I'm at Duluth, I'm playing some kid named Carter and Kamara and Autry, and that's who you faced in the region. Not to mention Bob Spire and North Gwinnett. Like, we could go on. At Alpha, we play Alpharetta non-region with some quarterback last name Dobbs. And you start to realize it ain't you, brother. You coaching your behind off.
Yeah.
Them guys I just named, they come on Fox and CBS at 4 and 1 o'clock on Sundays. And we didn't have no guys at Duluth that was coming on ABC on Saturdays at noon to 3:30. Man, less Sunday at 1 and 4 o'clock. So yeah, it wasn't the same. And so Corey Jarvis leaves to go to Mays, brother. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm stay at Duluth. I ain't in no rush to leave, and I'm still applying for jobs. And school out of Covington, Georgia, comes a calling, and there goes my first shot at being a head coach going to Newton. So, when I go to Newton, I spend 6 glorious years there, some ups, some downs. But, my main thing in Newton, I'm proud of what a lot of coaches have proven. Cedar Grove, Hughes, It still has been a little harder at that 7A level. Very proud of Josh Skelton and Cameo Grant after me. I think one of the things that I struggle with at Newton that they didn't struggle with too, though, is, man, because we had extreme talent at Newton. I think, I came to Newton at the right time. Everything is always divine timing. I got to give a lot of credit to Nick Collins. Nick Collins took over and kind of rebranded Newton. That's not to say Ben Reeves was the head coach, not to say that Coach Reeves did anything wrong. He kind of restarted Newton when Coach Reeves had to battle the new schools, the East Side and Alcovey. So, when he kind of left to go on to do his thing in other districts, Coach Collins came in at that time. Cortez Allen got it to about a 500 team. And then I took the ball and ran. When we tell younger coaches, chase at men and not players, my time in Newton, in those 6 years, I had 4 principals and 3 ADs.
Good Lord, have mercy.
Yeah. You got to sell your vision to each one of them. Because you got to sell your vision to each one of them. And you got to resell it over again. I don't think I understood. I thought, well, I'm winning, y'all leave me alone. You got to sell your vision to each one of those. And, for me, Newton, and I'll sum it to you like this without getting into details. I think a lot of people who are listening will understand this. Newton, my first couple of years were in regions where we were even, the Lovejoys, the Tuckers, etc. When we expanded to 7A, Newton grew. Newton's at about 2,500 kids now. They were at 22, 23 when I was there. We got put in the Gwinnett County region, which we're close to those schools. We're closer to those schools. Newton deserves to be in that region. But Lamb, quite simply this, brother. At Newton, I had kids who worried about what they were eating for dinner on Thursday night, while everybody I was playing fed their team dinner on Thursday night.
Right.
And those are different type of programs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are different type of programs. I live in the Parkview district and lived in the Brookwood district, and my sons are not old enough to play football, but at Parkview and Brookwood, I could. If Phillip Jones, if Eric Godfrey asked me for $1,000 dues, I could pay it. You know what I'm saying? And most of the kids at those schools can. I was asking for $400 at Newton, and it was struggling faces. So, we were different types of programs. And so I did. I wanted my own stadium. I wanted the field house. I did get give me more and I'll win more. And that, I don't know if that calculation was right, but everything kind of pushed you on your path. I then divorced from Newton. Me and the principal didn't see eye to eye. I went to Tri-Cities. I thought we could build there, and I think the right person could maybe build a Tri-Cities, but I got my stadium. I got, all my kids in weight training. And at Newton, we didn't have it. That's why we kind of invented the 6 a.m. workout, because we couldn't get all our kids in weight training yet. They do now, but then it was unheard of at Newton because they weren't used to that. But it wasn't the right fit. COVID happened. And people who don't know about Metro Atlanta, and because people ask me, because I still drive the Greene, people ask me about, man, you mind that drive? I tell people this. Going to Tri-Cities every morning from my house was a 35, 40-minute drive. Coming home when football season got out before COVID hit was an hour and 15, because Atlanta traffic is nasty coming from East Point, Georgia, back to Lilburn, Georgia. Nasty. Absolutely nasty. And COVID happened, and I like, all right, we divorced. Let me kind of restart myself, gather myself, rebuild myself. Had some options. At that time, I hadn't been close to home. Let me just get to Gwinnett. I knew some other things were going to happen. I ended up going to Meadowcreek with Jason Carrera to be his OC. Did that for a year. Things started to change. Jason was transitioning to athletic director. We knew that at the end of the season going to Central. The Central Gwinnett AD, so let me start to put some ties back together. The Central Gwinnett AD, who I also knew, has taken the county AD job at Greene County. And this is what we talk about relationships. Jason Carrera transitions to his job. It's transitioning to his job. So I'm taking over as interim head coach at Meadowcreek. Well, the county in Gwinnett is going through some changes. Carrera he stays the first 4 weeks of the season as head coach, kind of like co-head coaches. Obviously, he's the face. He's doing a lot of stuff. I'm making decisions with him because he is on his way. I take over at Meadowcreek, and to be honest with people, I tell people all the time, I'm being at Meadowcreek was 15 minutes from my house. We were making the playoffs. When Greene County came open, I had connections to Greene County. The principal that hired me at Newton works at Greene County. The county AD at Greene worked with me at Duluth, and he had, I knew him. They told me to come interview for Greene. I wasn't sure I was going to take it. I go out there, and I'm amazed. If you've never been to beautiful Exit 130, we are a single-A program. We have AAA, 4A facilities at Greene County. And so I'm like, I'm 15 minutes from home, but I will drive 55 minutes every day to me and my wife figure out moving, etc. To beautiful Greene County. And there I am now and going into year 3. So that's kind of my coaching cycle from 2005 with James Teeter, going into now year 2024 as the head coach of the Tigers of Greene County.
Lots of success this past year as a head coach. You've done it in a lot of places and climbed the ladder and, met a lot of people, and you talked about relationships and chasing administrators. It's funny what you said about, being at Newton. We always talk about it, off air when we get together at clinics and recruiting fairs and stuff like that. And you still have people today that some of these administrators, they expect the results, but they don't want. And I never talk about fair. Fair is something that comes around once a year, but at least give us equitable. They want you to produce the results on the field, but they don't want to give you the same thing you going against on Friday nights. Putting those kids in weight training. Getting you to, hey coach, we got these teaching slots open. I'm gonna give you first shot at trying to fill them with a coach, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if that's what you face, but. That's some of the stuff. Some of the stuff we face a lot of times. You hear a lot of guys talk about that's an issue as well.
Yeah, I think when I was a young first-time head coach, because I was coming from Gwinnett, so you had seen, and people always ask me, why do people talk so much about Gwinnett in the metro area? Gwinnett, some of the North Florida schools, some of the Cobb schools, and there are other schools like Walton County but they understand athletics and what it means to the community, what it means to the school and morale and test scores and how you build it. And I was young and kind of stubborn and naive and only knew one way, didn't want to open my mind. I want to do it this way because this is what I've seen be successful. And you have to learn how to adapt. But I got to Newton, man, I didn't have nobody in PE coach football when I got to Newton. No PE teacher at Newton High School when I arrived coach football.
Holy smokes.
And we did all that we did without that. Now, could I have been where my feet were at Newton later in my career? Yes. I could have been where my feet were, and at Newton I started looking at the front door a little more than I could have. However, that just is what it is. So, that kind of thing would be like this. So, I understand that now at Greene County, we don't have that problem. I got a weight training coach. I got, I have freedom to do the things I need. I got guys in my building, the middle school building. It's just different. And it was like that at Meadowcreek, too.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
But, I tell people you have to understand your restrictions and what it takes to win. But, it's different at certain schools. And just understand your ceiling and how you got to fight.
Well, and having that administrative support is so important as well. I mean, you've got a familiarity and a relationship with those people going in. You know one another. And you can close the door and y'all can get down and say what you want to say. And you don't have to go in there with your hat in your hand and, you know, oh shucks and oh please, and you know, you just close the door and be like, look, man. Or they can call you in and close the door and say, look, man, you know, I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, and that's good because that's the way a relationship ought to work.
Yeah, and so when when I point to people ask me, like, what's the difference between your success and what Newton is doing now? I like one of the things that helped Josh Skelton. I hired Josh Skelton at Newton in 2013. He's not a head coach. He's 2024. The principle that I didn't necessarily see eye to eye on how to build a program with, she had been principal for the last 9 years. He's been able to do things that other schools that he plays are doing, and look how much further he's running with the baton, and that makes a difference. And that's part of the reason why we're successful at Greene is we're a single A program, but I mean, I got a staff of about 9. You know what I'm saying? Outside of me, I got a middle school staff. Like you said, those things make a difference when you're able to put those things into play.
Right.
And
you're on the even playing field with everybody else.
Yep.
So how did spring go for you guys this year?
You know, spring for me, like I said, we lost 16 seniors, so spring for me was about teaching. One thing about Greene County is we have been region champions in track for the last 3 years. And so I never get my guys all 10 days. And one thing I learned too, you have to learn, and if you're a head coach, you're never going to stop learning. So when I first got into Greene, we did the black and gold game because I was new. It was exciting. Kids were out. Last year, I wanted scrimmage. I wanted to play somebody. I knew we were going to be good. Let's play Washington County. Me and Coach Edwards are good friends. Let's play each other, yada, yada, yada. Didn't have all my kids. Coach Edwards took me to the woodshed some. But I still knew we were going to be good. This year, I took a different approach. What's important for my single A school? Fundamentals, being around the kids. I knew college coaches were going to come to my school, and recruiting is very important to me in selling my kids. And so we had 10 days. There were no pads. There were helmets only. We did contact prep. We did install. We did competition. And then we did what kind of like Ole Miss Lane Kiffin did for these black and gold games. We did lineman challenges with prowlers and tire flips and bags and one-on-ones and sumo wrestling and 7-on-7 teams being drafted. And our kids enjoyed it. I mean, I think even if I got back to a level 6, 7A level with these nice number of kids, or if I had same number of kids that my brother Rich Finley got out there about, if I had 85 kids, I still might do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but it was, teaching, man. I think coaches, like me and you were talking before this, right? Coaches don't realize, man, teaching, and teaching is really the most important thing in the summer. There are no championships won in the summer, but you can't lose that thing if you mess it up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our thing this summer has been cutting the workout down. I mean, we're lifting, and they're because they work hard during the off season. I'm especially a co-teacher, so I'm like in a classroom. So I ain't down there seeing what they do. So they've been working hard. They got strong, maintaining that strength, still making some gains, but spending, 45 minutes to 50 minutes getting after it in the weight room and spending as much time as we can on the grass because we're playing football, learning, teaching, correcting, trying to get ahead of that. Because, I mean, people ain't showing up on a Friday night to watch us pick up heavy things. I mean, I know you got to do it. I'm not saying you don't do that part of it, but you know what I'm saying. You in single A, you got to spend more time because every kid is playing like 4 positions. I don't think some of these bigger programs, we just got a guy, I don't know, Antoine Toomer, he just joined us. He's been in some big programs, and it's been a while since he's been, if ever, at a small place. And, we got like 40 kids. It's like, yeah, this kid, we're doing pre-practice, and I'm down there working pass pro, pass set with offensive line guys, and then all of a sudden you hear him yell punt team, and forward the offensive lineman take off. And, I don't think anything of it because that's just part of it. Yeah, he starts offensive lineman, and he's on punt team, and he's on this special team. Oh, and he's the backup defensive lineman for this guy. And then, in the summer, so-and-so ain't here today, coach. Okay, well, I got to move. I had to do that today. Somebody wasn't there. All right, well, I got to move this kid to tackle. This kid steps up. He's got to go here. I mean, because that's what it is. It's an opportunity to learn.
Yep. And so, that's exactly where we are. I'm telling my good brother Ryan Andrews is my DC this year, and I keep telling him, as we game plan, I want to do like this ain't 7-8, this ain't 6-8 ball, this ain't 5-8, this ain't 4-8 ball. What you mean? I said, and this is not to take away from anything from single A coaches. I think we do. I ain't 7-8 coaches. Yes, y'all get to do more of the fun stuff that's seen on Saturdays, big time coaches, but we coaching. And you got to come up with interesting schemes. And sometimes when you got a Jimmy, you got a Jimmy. And you got to put that Jimmy in position. So, as he's even seeing, I don't think, man, it's only day 3 for us. I don't think we've seen all 11 starters, expected starters on either side of the ball. But that gives you a chance to learn kids.
Right.
Teach kids football skills. Put kids in certain positions. All my other brothers are texting in our group chat about going down to Tech, going to UGA, going down here for 7-on-7. I'm like, yeah, sound real good. We're going to do 7-on-7 against each other today. I'll let you know how it go.
Yeah, or we're going to call up this group down the road, and we're going to meet up with them Wednesday.
Right. And so, those are the things that, like you say, this non-existent kind of for what's going on.
Yeah, it's cool if you can take your kids to do that, but it ain't gonna do me no good to go to because I ain't gonna see that. That ain't. It's cool for the kids, but I'd much rather meet up with y'all or meet up with, Westfield or Lamar County because they're close by, and on a Thursday, and get some work. Where you can go, hey, T, can y'all run that again? Can you give us trips again? Or, or whatever. Hey, can you give us that 4-3 look again? That shit, that top, and just run and slow it down so that we're teaching on both sides instead of, oh, we won the Ukiduke University 7-on-7 challenge, blah, 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 blah. Well, congratulations. Well, look at you.
Yeah. And if and I do think that thing means something, at the higher levels, but I was at the small levels, it ain't that thing. And you talk about evolution. The people that know me from Newton, they think up-tempo, fast-paced, Noah Mazzoni slinging that ball. And you saw me on film last year, Lamb. Wasn't no slinging the ball at Greene County last year. We was gonna play stellar defense, and we was gonna run that ball down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we were gonna do. Which that a lot of people that knew me that was an adjustment for them. Like that ain't the Terrance Banks we know. I said the Terrance Banks like winning, and whatever winning is, that's who Terrance Banks is. So if it's this year, it's gonna call for us to throw the ball more. And we have the weapons to throw the ball more. Not as much as I did in Newton, but a lot more than I did last year. But we still playing similar football. We gonna be whatever the kids that come out here be.
Exactly.
And, I tell people all the time. Today, I tell you that with power spread, we might be shotgun wing T. We just still power spread by the time we get to game 7. So you don't worry about, it's just, you learn and you adjust. And that's the one thing I think, I want coaches to understand. You learn and you adjust. Have a philosophy. Understand what you get, but be ready to learn and adjust. That's, a big thing about it.
The cool thing about single A is it's like almond joy, man. You don't ever know what you're going to get with these cats on Friday night because you may roll in. This week you're getting a 4-4. This week you're getting a 50. This week you're getting a this. They may be single wing. They may be spread. They may be wing T. You're getting a little bit of everything. And it's kind of cool because, it's everybody don't do the same thing. It's not like the bigger classifications where, they're running spread. They're running this defense.
Yeah. And what's funny about that is, I don't care if, I'm sure he knows it. Y'all can call him and tell him, if, I'm sure he don't know. You can tell Lee Tompkins this. we built our offense and defense at Greene County, and this is what I adapted to after year one, because I had to learn that mindset too. Now, our offense and defense at Greene County is built to run. How do we stop Lincoln County?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what you got to do.
Because that's the team in my region that is the most popular. I see so much stuff. We going to see shotgun wing T. Lincoln going to run old school wing T. If he got the right quarterback, he going to run midline option. And, you know, you're going to see power spread like me from certain teams. But you pick a team because you see so much stuff. Who the team we feel like we got to beat? And this is no slight to anybody in my region. And, you know, we had the corners in our region. They were old school Tony Franklin. Might be why we struggled some against them. And this is no slight to Jim. You know, I had seen that so much, so I felt comfortable as a coach coming from 7A. But it had been a long time since I had seen the wing T. When I got to Greene after that first year against Lincoln, man, I went and talked to everybody that ran the wing T. I called back up John Ford. I went back through, called T. I went back through all my wing T notes from Bruce Cobley and what, you know. And man, you gear it down, and then you, like you say, you batten the hatch and prepare for the rest, because we gonna see it all. We gonna see single wing, we gonna see old school I, we gonna see wing T, we gonna see shotgun wing T, we gonna see some spread, we gonna see some power spread, we gonna see some shifting every play. You just gotta get kids lined up and play fast. It ain't like, hey, bums over bad days coming every week like it does at the other levels.
Yeah, and you know, we're going to try. This will help us segue into hiring coaches. You got these young cats coming out looking for jobs, and some of them will turn their nose up at the smaller school jobs that come open and don't understand it. And we both coached at the bigger schools. Not say, and you know, guys are listening. Surely to God, you know, we're not taking shots at you. Not saying that because we've been there. We're not saying you don't coach, but when you coach in single A, you're doing a lot because you're having to deal with a lot. You know, when you're at a big program and you coach, or you're a coordinator, or you're a position coach, you just worry about your 20 kids. Well, hell, 20 kids is half of our team. You know, that's
man. And so, like,
that's your position group.
I've been fortunate this offseason. I've got 3 young coaches that I hired to go on my staff, and I'm excited about all 3 of them. 2 of them got 1 year experience. One of them, this is his first year. One of them, which is funny enough, is actually the legend Eric Parker's son, Keenan Parker. I was able to hire his son.
All right.
And just like you say, and he like, what position I coach? I said, man, you coach skill guys that can catch a ball. Wide receivers, I said, nah, I don't really know what that means. That could be, some days it'd be H-back, some tight end. Some days it'd be wide receivers. Some days it'd be a running back. I don't really know. Just everything. You learn skills. What can I teach? What do I have to coach? And, you know, from the 7A, you could tell a coach. When I was at Newton, I had guys that coach certain stuff. Hell, and when I was at Newton, I didn't coach. I had so many good coaches that I kind of stood with my hands in my pockets and talked to all the kids and went around and managed the program. My hands get dirty at Greene, you know, having to, you know, every morning I print out the practice schedule for the day. Like today, we had an acceleration speed day. I need the prowler sleds out. I need the timing cones out. Oh, by the way, we're getting new turf for the stadium, which is a blessing. But there are no lines on the practice field yet. And we're going to do that tomorrow as a staff. And that track concrete is old. There are no lines on there. And then you'll get a tape measure. Here's how you measure yards off so that we can run our fly runs. And I'm having to tell them this. And then I'm having to remind them, hey, so the kids are going to the weight room. There are bags and balls here. Ah, man, because we're going to call the kid back. I said, no, you're not. That's your fault. You should have let them left. Here you go. Make sure the balls and the bags get back in the shed because you let them leave. You got to be just teaching them the things about multiple things. And I'm like, hey, you got to be responsible for grabbing kids because like you said, Lamb, it ain't going to be, you know, you could do, hey, DBs got field cleanup. DBs and wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, DBs and wide receivers at Greene County are the same 8, 9, 10 people. So it ain't like a group of 40. And I don't know if they all gonna be there on the same day every day in the summer. So you better grab who you can, and we in this thing together, man. And I think, you know, you learn single A. And they says no shot at the big levels. So, I love the big levels. My time there, I've had to relearn and readjust to get my hands dirty again.
Yeah, it's funny what you said about that. Like today, you head coach, you standing there and you going over at the end of practice or whatever, and coaches, you got anything? And I was like, yeah, I got 2 things. Number one, if y'all need something done with your helmet, don't get me before we fix to go out on the field. Let's do that. When we get done right here, let me get all that fixed today. So tomorrow we can just go, because Coach Lamb can't be tied up in the equipment room getting, UAC because I'm getting out here late because I'm in here trying to make sure your chin strap ain't strapped through your ear hole like I had 2 of them today. Because it just came out of reconditioning and they didn't have sense enough to strap it where it was supposed to go. But, they don't know no better.
Right.
I said, thing number 2, freshmen, see me when we're done. So the freshmen, they come see me and I'm like, all right, here we go. This is what we got. I need you 2, go over there and stack all them cones up for me and just leave that right there. I'll grab it on the way in. You 3, go over here, pick those bags up for me and go put them over there for me. You 3, I divide and conquer. Do that. And then tomorrow, I want to use the same freshmen, however many there are, and we're going to divide and conquer and clean up the field again, and and then I go in behind them and make sure it get, I'm the last one off to make sure everything gets put up, just doing that kind of stuff that, before you didn't think about that kind of stuff when you in 6A and 5A, 7A, because somebody did it. You had a DFO or managers or whatever, you just didn't think about it.
Yeah, most definitely. And I definitely agree with you. And so just, different lifestyle and different things. But I think each level has its plus and its minuses, baby. It just, you learn and you go with the flow. You learn and you go with the flow. And I think that's the biggest thing. You can always learn something, and you give it the right administration, and things can happen, which is, kind of where I'm at in my time now. Everything is really, like I said, about administration, which is kind of funny because the county AD that hired me at Greene became the principal my 2 years here. He was hiring me. He hired me. When he hired me at county ID and I got here and I was getting ready to leave Meadowcreek, he said, oh, by the way, in January, I'll be the principal. Again, we've known each other for 15 years. It was lovely. So he just left to go be the principal at Monroe area. Well, the new principal at Greene County is the principal at Greene at Newton that I was with the longest. So for 3.5 years, the principal that hired me at Newton, when I got there, he got promoted to assistant superintendent. They brought somebody in, did not work out. They parted ways with that guy after 6 months. For the next 3.5 years, I had the same principal. That's when we won big. That guy is now the principal at Greene. And it's like that relationship is back to being what it was. But you talk about relationships and administration, like I hadn't blinked. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be different, of course, because each principal is different. But me and this guy been in the trenches together at a 7A program. So definitely being in one at a single A program is adaptable and doable.
Well, I tell you one thing that I've really admired about what you've done at Greene County is you're excellent at promoting your kids in your program. You talk about stop at exit 130. I mean, I like the way you branded that. I mean, that's really, it's not like you've put Greensboro on the map because, you got a lake and, athletes have come out of there. But the way you've branded the program and always promoting those kids, I always see stuff out there, getting those kids out there and having getting the college coaches' eyes on them and come by exit 130. I like that. You've done a really great job with that for sure.
Yeah, I think as part of head coaches, man, I think that is important to our kids. And I think, branding is important. I think some schools might go overboard with branding, but I think that's important. I think that's definitely important at the small levels, And he brands, but I'm gonna say it's like this: Ben Reeves ain't got a brand. Every college in America knows where Milton High School is. Two of my very close friends, Johnny White and Daniel Williams, everybody knows where Douglas County and Langston Hughes are. If I wasn't shouting from the rooftop, exit 130, how many folks would know where Greene County is. And I think it's to the point now in the state that even if you don't really know what Greene County is, you probably tell everybody, what is off exit 130? And you don't know whether 130 is 75, 85, 20, 285, but you figure somebody finds exit 130, they'll find Greene County. And I think that's important because I want my kids to know that I want them to have the same opportunities as everybody else.
Absolutely. I mean, because when they're out there, they're yours. You know? I mean, they're your youngins. They might as well live with you. I mean, much as we feed a lot of them and clothe them and everything else, you want to claim them on your taxes.
Yeah, especially if you will.
And that's, that's what we do. I mean, that's what we've always done and what we'll continue to do. And, Coach, you have done it for a long, long time. Let's see, what is this, year 1920 for you?
Yeah, I believe year 19 coaching, and depending on how you look at it, either year 10 or 11 as a head coach. So, and been blessed to be a head coach in the largest classification, smallest classification, and in the middle, which is, as you would say, unique. I've been head coach of a school of 2,500 kids, head coach of a school with 1,350, and now head coach of a school with 430. And so it's an interesting thing.
Well, that's outstanding. Well, Coach, keep up the great work. I sure do appreciate you being on with us today. I know you're busy. I know your time's very, very valuable to you to spend with your own boys. And I just appreciate you taking time out and sharing what's going on at Exit 130 with us today and your journey to get there.
I appreciate you for having me on. Maybe somebody might get some out of this, maybe not. But, hey, I'm thankful that you had me.
I'm sure they will. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.